everyone, Pam here, and today I want to summarize Chapter 3 of Learning from the Stranger by David Smith. This chapter is titled Cage, Carnival, or Calling. That's an interesting metaphor to describe culture, and I want to go through each one of them. Our cultural views can cage us to create a mindset that puts those who are different in a box. I think about our norm reference curve. We internalize that, especially if we are in the majority culture, that our norms are good and anything that's to either extreme the curve can be different or deficient. This mindset is prevalent in our school systems with standardized testing, which categorizes students as disabled or gifted depending on where they fall in this continuum. A quote that describes the carnival mindset is found on page 56. Quote, "We are all different and none of us has the God's eye view. So let's just describe our differences and live and let live." There is a colorful carnival of cultures out there, and who am I to judge? This quote describes that carnival mindset that Smith says ignores the presence of sin. So what is the sin? How do we understand it? In the beginning of the chapter, Smith had asked the reader to write their spiritual autobiography. He predicts that if the reader is from a Western world, we probably would begin our biography with our own individual thoughts and attitudes. He contrasts it to Augustine, who described his spiritual autobiography in his well-known Augustine's Confessions. In Augustine's autobiography, he begins with God and introduces himself as a helpless infant, which is very different from our Western mindset where the world centers around us. So a quote that describes this mindset is, "The conversation started before we joined it, and we have to learn how to take our turn." Therefore, as Westerners, our challenge is to step back and adopt a posture of humility, as the world does not center around us. The calling, therefore, is to imitate God. In page 54, Smith says, quote, "We are called to imitate God in fashioning the unformed world into a habitual, harmonious home for all creatures." This is quite a challenge. One of the ways that we can even view how we sinned is a simple definition of success. Smith claims that inequality can loom from our definition of success. In the following quote, he says, "Where the criteria of success becomes tied to the possession of cultural behaviors that are those of a particular group within society, inequality looms on the horizon." There are many theories that seem to describe this inequality, and one theory is the critical race theory. The critical race theory claims that racism is ingrained in the fabric and system of the American society. The individual races need not exist to note that institutional racism is pervasive in the dominant culture. This is the analytical lens that CRT uses in examining existing power structures. CRT identifies that these power structures are based on white privilege and white supremacy, which perpetuates the marginalization of people of color. Opponents of the critical race theory argue that the theory impedes dialogue and creates a reverse form of racism. It creates anger, frustration, and despondency. So how do we move past this? I think when we respond to Smith's calling to imitate God and to grow in Christ and learn how to partner with Him in a world where we can truly answer Jesus' prayer. Jesus prayed in John 17 that we all can be one, just as He and the Father are one. The call of the hour for each one of us is to answer Jesus' prayer, to step into the discomfort of becoming one, shedding our pride, caged or privileged mindset, and respond to the call to humility and participate in the work of renewal and reconciliation. Thank you.